I was already a late-night person by the time I was in graduate school. I always deeply appreciated late-night conversations. It seemed like they were easier because there were less distractions all around us in the night. The night brought us together. It brought us closer, our faces only lit by the light of table lights and 50s chandeliers. It also seemed easier to be vulnerable and real, though back then I never found that particularly easy. One night, as I was walking back to my room after one of those deep conversations, I heard organ music coming out of our huge chapel. Again, it was all dark except for the light over the organ. And one of my new friends was sitting there making this instrument come alive. I will never forget it. Sitting there off to the side, listening to him play in the dark, not even knowing it was him at the time. I'll never forget it. I later discovered the name of the piece he was playing. It was the Vigil Toccata. As I watched him playing the pedals as if they were piano keys, and I watched his hands moving quickly through the keys of the keyboard, and I was blown away as he would pull out these things called stops on this grand organ, stops until the whole organ was vibrating with sound. All these pipes of every size calling out to each other. To this day, every time I hear the Vigil, it stops me in my tracks. For me, that organ that night became a symbol, a very powerful symbol, an easy to access symbol for my life, and perhaps for every human life. When the stops were pulled out, the organ was playing at its finest and fullness. When the stops were pulled out, my whole body was vibrating with energy, with the air blowing through these pipes of all sizes and shapes. Playing to its full, nothing held back, nothing around it could not feel it. One sensation after another, filling that dark chapel that first night, and ever since, I could feel it pulsing in my body. And like anybody who has ever had an experience that is profound, I wanted everybody to hear it. I wanted everybody to feel it. And so in the night, I would gather my other friends into the dark chapel and ask my friend if he would play it for us that night, the Vigil. And I was thrilled all over again. it came to me that it's probably a lot like that for us. That we are born with all these stops on our lives, on the organ of our lives, all these pedals on the floor, all these keys spread out in front of us that can be played alone or together, and all the shapes and the sounds of hundreds of pipes all around us. And we are our conscious self, or even unconscious self, are at the seat. We start out our lives with all the stops pulled out, our lives playing to the full, and then one after another, we push them in. Life pushes them in. We push them in. Each one muting our life more and more until every day, we begin every day with all the stops pushed in. We lose our ability to express even most emotions. Life goes flat, and it is fear that does this. One fear after another, one fear piled on top of another, each one muting our lives, what we're capable of, until for some of us, our whole life is on mute. These stops, sometimes we push in from our fears. Sometimes they get pushed in by bullies. Sometimes by our parents, who don't mean to, but they did. Who made us too afraid. Overprotective, perhaps, snowplow parents, helicopter parents, parents who did not allow us to feel our feelings. All of them. We end up afraid to break the rules. We end up afraid to doubt ourselves or our faith when we're supposed to. We're afraid to trust anybody when we can't live without trust. Afraid to make mistakes, afraid to fail, seeing danger everywhere. I see it all the time. I know so many good Catholics over the years who are so afraid of sinning and consequently so afraid of hell that while they are doing everything right, they're actually spiritually dead. They're anything but alive. It's what Jesus always went after with the Pharisees, you know. They did everything right, but nothing. If we live that way, my friends, we will die that way. Our whole lives on mute, unless we begin to understand the greatness we are capable of, unless we begin to recognize and name the stops that have been pushed in for too long. Someone once wrote, "Death is a universal. It lays its icy hands on all of us. Humanity is held hostage to the prospect of death. But we, because of this feast, we have a response to that. We can respond. That is indeed true, that everyone dies, but not everyone is afraid to die. It is only those who do not experience the joy of living who are afraid to die." How many freshmen have come to Washington University really ready to pull out the stops and begin a new life, to try on new behaviors, meet new people along the way, try to be somebody they never let themselves be before, and only in the end to sometimes push those stops back in because of hurt or disappointment or failure? I so want more life for you than that. In this altar, there are the bones of 3 saints. One of them is a 3rd century saint, Irenaeus. Listen to Irenaeus' words. "The glory of God is the human fully alive. The glory of God is the human fully alive. We can be so eager to pull out those stops. When we hear a phrase like that, a thought, a wisdom with that perspective, it can wake something up in us like it did those two friends walking on the road to Emmaus when they said, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my heart was burning inside of me. And they rushed back with enthusiasm. They had something to say. Sometimes we're eager to do the work it takes to pull out those stops. Sometimes we're ready and willing to do the work of what it takes to become free. Our lives, our loves are unlocked by those who love us and the work we do. To be alive, we have to be willing to leave our comfort zone. Can I tell you some folks here who have come alive in this past year? They're sitting right up here in the front. There are catechumens and there are candidates, and they are those to be confirmed, who worked hard this year to come alive and faced a lot of their own demons to do it. And they didn't let fear put any stop in. It was a powerful thing to watch them come to life. Tonight, they will be immersed in the waters of baptism and will join us in full communion. A therapist describes eroticism as the feeling of being alive. This writer invites us to finish this sentence. I turn myself on by ... And she adds, I turn myself off by ... There's no wrong answers. For myself, and perhaps with the hope that this might trigger something for you, I turn myself off when I worry, when I'm impatient, when I fall into routines and I don't pay attention. I turn myself on when I notice something new, when I'm in nature, when I remember to be mindful, when I laugh, and when I'm curious, when I thrill to life, my own life, opening up this ancient instrument to its full. You see, my friends, resurrection is about coming alive. It's not just about Jesus coming alive. It's about us coming alive. His resurrection was for nothing if it doesn't carry us with him, if we also are not coming alive. And it's never too late to come alive. We still can come to be even more alive tomorrow than today. And Easter is for nothing if we do not say and sing with this cosmic Christ, as he is sometimes called, I am alive. I am alive. I am coming alive. Can you say it with me? I am alive.
I am alive.
I am coming alive.
I am coming alive.
All by pulling out one stop at a time and live.